asked to speak about this evening about my experience at the USB and my reasons for selecting the USB. I will honor the latter request, but I'm going to take a bit of liberty on the first request and actually just share some principles I think those of you who are starting a new qualification this year, or perhaps are in the process of a qualification, should reflect on in order to maximize your personal academic journey. As Intabasing has shared, I'm a bit of a nerd. My undergrad degree was in business. So I spent the large part of my early years at university understanding what makes global organizations exceptional, what makes them globally competitive, and how best to allocate capital in order to achieve value and drive growth. So after a few years in business, I was looking for something that would provide me with a similar kind of insight into how countries worked. So what made them exceptional? What were the key growth levers? And how would one have to allocate capital in order to achieve those growth targets? Because even though business is the strongest or most powerful arm in a free society, it cannot exist healthily if the economy and the country is dysfunctional. And so yeah, after some research, I came across the Masters in Development Finance, which the USB was the first in the country to, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I understood it, to be the first in everything. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so they were the first in the country to offer, so now I did my degree a few years ago. And it also ticked a few of my other boxes. One, it was offered part-time. Two, it allowed me to explore master's level research in an area that I was interested in. And three, it was around the corner from where I used to work. So yeah, that's basically in a nutshell how I came about to choose the Masters in Development Finances, and as Ntabasing would say, the better MBA. Yeah, I mean, I could reflect on my experience here, but I think this year is all about you, or the next 2 years, depending on how long your qualification is. So what I'd like to share with you is a few principles, and there are one or two that may tie in with Professor Nadir, but we didn't pre-plan this. So the first principle is input is equal to output. What you get out of your time here is completely a function of what you put in here. You've heard all the accreditations, you know you're getting a world-class academic education from world-class academics. You don't need me to sell you on that. But what you need to understand is that the quality of the experience you get out of here is a function of your input and commitment to the process. The system is set up to maximize the chances of you passing. That's just the nature of how systems are set up. But how you get through and what you take away and what you learn from the process is completely up to you. So do the hard, difficult work. And remember that if you find a way to cook the system or the learning system or find a shortcut, in the long run, the only person you cheat is yourself. Number two, use this as an opportunity to practice. I have an 8-year-old niece who likes to win. I know nobody likes to lose, but I've gotten her to understand that even if you're naturally talented, you actually do need to practice in order to consistently win. Usain Bolt trains, so she gets that now. With your classes, with your assignments, with your projects, with all of those tasks that are going to feel like a burden at some point, they all offer you an opportunity to practice what you're learning and what you have learned. Use that opportunity fully to get fit before you go out and actually chase big goals. Number three, remember to correct your course when you stray off target. One of my favorite stories to tell, albeit a rather sad one, is, and some of you may know it, is the story of the 1979 Air New Zealand crash. They were on an tourist expedition to Antarctica. And unfortunately, and probably also a function of technology not being as great as it is today, the pilots were given the incorrect coordinates, which they of course put into the system. That, combined with low and confusing visibility, they couldn't tell the difference between what was a snow-capped mountain and what was cloud, caused the plane to crash into the side of the mountain. Over 200 people died. There were no survivors. Now, it's a bit of a sad story, but I raise it for a particular point. There's a greater margin of error allowed in your qualification depending on what you're choosing to pursue. But you will stray off target. I can tell you that, or of course, I can tell you that with great certainty, because there will be loads of things demanding your attention. But what I want to iterate is that you need to make the time to self-correct. because sole responsibility for you achieving your personal learning goals or whatever you've come here to achieve, whether it's to get the accreditation, whether it's to cum your degree, whether it's to do an amazing research so that you can go on to do a PhD because you have a longer research or academic career ahead of you. Sole responsibility for you meeting those targets lies with you. And when you do stray off target, because life gets in the way, make time to self-correct. And then finally, tied a little bit to what Professor Nadir had said and to what Heidi had said, is use the time to reflect on your own value system. Irrespective of which qualification you're going to pursue, you will do a course in either leadership or in ethics or corporate governance, as Daniel Malandu taught me, or some derivative of it. Use the case studies to reflect on your own value system. In a world, and in particularly a country where ethical leadership has been brought into question, not only in the public sector, but also in the private sector, it's important for you to reflect on how you engage with society. And I say this for two reasons, or two main reasons. One, if you're a leader, you influence society on the grounds of the kind of environment or space or organization that you create based on what you tolerate. So you do influence what happens out there. And secondly, if you're a follower, and there are far more followers in the world, you have a choice in who you choose to follow. Unethical leaders rise to power because somebody chooses to follow them. Choose wisely. Everybody wants change and everybody wants a better world, but oftentimes people don't realize that the change starts with them. And that's me. Thank you for your time. Good luck with your studies. I hope you have a great academic experience. And drop me an email if you want to know how to survive.